Good morning, welcome to a morning review. This is Kim speaking on Tuesday, the 17th of January. Okay, so today, before I get on with the technicals, just talk about the fundamentals and the economic news coming out today. Of course, key today at 11:45, we've got the UK Prime Minister May speaking and addressing um, Parliament, I believe, with the further plans of Brexit. So that will be the key thing out this morning. Apparently, it's a 12-point plan for Brexit as it's been dropped, so the press pretty know much about it. I would imagine most points are already out there, one way or another, being leaked. So I don't think there'll be a lot of surprises at all. But hearing us say it is another matter, and if there's anything extra to be added, they'll be in there. Okay, on that basis, we've got that. We've got the inflation out this morning for the UK as well at 9:30. Aside of that, really, there is a US speaker this afternoon at 3 p.m., but he's the outgoing Treasury Secretary. I believe he retires um, this month. So his thoughts in terms of he's due to speak about tax reform, trade, and the economy, and dealing with China, and his lessons learned from time in office may be just pushed aside there. So just be aware he is speaking at 3 p.m., but unfortunately may not give us the volatility we quite like in the afternoon. Anyway, moving on to the technicals then. And the euro has, through the Asian session, had a reasonable chunk up. In fact, it's moved more through the Asian session than it moved the whole of the day yesterday. The US is back on tune, so hopefully we'll get some more volatility as we go through today. Now, as we look at the market on a shorter time frame here, so there's not too much. Actually, sorry, I should have just flicker this so I can see the 4 hourly as well. Weekly pivot ticked. We did that yesterday as expected in the morning, uh, and then it just consolidated. It wasn't much of a move thereafter, but through the Asian session, you see up already to the weekly MIDI there, R1 MIDI, RM1. Looking from intraday, we're already up to R2. Now the pivots today, the daily pivots are quite pinched. I wouldn't be too shocked if we get some overrun if the market gets a decent run. Looking at the pound, well, yesterday, as expected, we did have a bit of a partial move up. Now we've closed as I said, the technical gap there yesterday. I was looking for that as a part target of my long, which I'm in with the trading room, but I'm retaining part position to see where we can get going. It's at the moment we've still got a weekly pivot untouched above. We've got May speaking later on. I think that the press has seen most of what she's probably going to be speaking about anyway, and I expect that it'll be met reasonably favourably. And well, we'll see. Of course, when she starts speaking, other things may occur, but certainly the pound has managed to push up along with the euro there. As I say, weekly pivot still untouched. Technical close of the low to today's high, but still got some mileage to go to the actual gap fill, which sits along with a weekly pivot there. And yesterday's daily pivot. At the moment, I'm still erring on the bullish side. I think this gap may be filled. I'm still retaining part position on this. There's not for the downside. Well, the daily pivot's already been caught. It got caught pretty early on, so there's not really a target in terms of down. But certainly, if the down, if we get a break below the daily, 60-minute 8, we may be pushing on further down towards that daily pivot, maybe beyond back down to test the S1 at some point. So certainly could turn here quite easily, but personally, I'm backing the upside. Dollar yen as expected. As I said yesterday, well, as much as I'd like to see the weekly pivot touch there, I'm still expecting downside in dollar yen, and it's pretty much done that yesterday. So it started a bit of consolidated and started its radiation session, beg your pardon, but it is moving to the downside. It's my preferred route for it at the moment, although we're seeing a bounce off its S2 at the moment. Again, the daily pivots are pinched here. Whilst we may see some consolidation, it may well run through those pivots today. Aussie dollar. Okay, must admit I would have expected it to come back towards its weekly pivot a little bit easier. It's often a softer currency, but it certainly hasn't. So pushing up. Arguably, there's divergence running across certainly on the daily, from a daily aspect, there's a bit of divergence, minimal, but it's there. We're back into these prior highs. If it can close above this 200, perhaps we've got some further upside to be had with the Aussie dollar there. We have got the jobs figures out later this week, which will probably create a bit more volatility, but at the moment, pushing up, there's little to be said. Again, it's most gone through this Asian session, difficult to trade. We're into the R2 area again, back into the R2. Again, the pivots are pinched following a very narrow day yesterday. Canadian dollar, okay, still really yesterday ended up on a positive day there, and a bit of a pivot swing type pattern, but it's already broken. It never really triggered it too much, and it's already broken the lows of that. It's negating that idea. And I'd say type pattern, it wasn't quite because of the previous low, but it does look weak at the moment. Against here, it's following the signs everywhere else. We've got S2, S3 below. Any opportunity, maybe selling back into the 60-20 if it gets that far back, or maybe the 68 is a possibility for further downside. Of course, with all these currencies that have moved through the Asian session, we do occasionally get this happen and you get a complete reversal. So you've just got to be a bit careful for that, and maybe I'd rather than try and play the upside, but wait until we see a break of the perhaps a 60-minute 8 if he's trying to take the long side on some of these markets, but back to the 21s and then, see if it pushed any further. But I'd rather be shorting in the direction this market's moving at the moment. Okay, that's pretty much it for me. As I say, news I've already covered. Have a great day. Bye for now.